We're going to be talking about a major shift here in the crypto markets, as well as the major markets here. What could be happening after this drop in Bitcoin? And Bitcoin is still the driver of this crypto market. If it pumps, that is still very good for the altcoins, but if it dumps, that could still dump your altcoins very hard, as we have seen over the last couple of days. So, what could be next for the crypto markets? Will Bitcoin be rebounding from here and bring up the altcoins with it? Or will this dump continue? I'm going to be showing you guys what I'm seeing on the chart here, and I am still betting on more bullish price action, and I will show you guys why on the charts. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, so I am still bullish on the crypto markets for 2025, at least in the near term future. I'll tell you guys when I change my opinions and why that is. And we're also going to be talking about a few altcoins, especially meme coins, later in this video, which would be Mog Coin, Neiro on Ethereum, Neiro ETH, as well as, let's take a look. I always forget. So Mog Coin, Neiro ETH, and BOME, BOME, which is bulk of memes. See what's going on in these meme coins and what their potentials are, as well as any price target updates since the last time I've talked about these coins. That's gonna be later in the 10-minute mark, after the 10-minute mark. So if you guys want to skip ahead, you can, but I highly don't recommend it. I don't trade altcoins, meme coins without a clear understanding of what's happening with Bitcoin first. We're also going to be taking a look into some major crypto news that is going to be interesting. I will give you guys my instant reaction to quite a bit of contrast in opinions in this market here. So let's go ahead and dig into some news first and then get into the charts. All right. So this is Bitcoin. This is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin dip making perfect bottom, quote unquote, says analysts. Will Bitcoin rally to 148K? I still think that is very much possible, very much probable here. Of course, these are just my opinions and not financial advice like the rest of this video. But that is still my opinion. I still think 145K is in the cards, maybe 148. Definitely in the cards, because I've been talking about that cup and handle breakout on the weekly time frame for as long as you guys can remember. And a in the monthly RSI reading here, we're nowhere near that FOMO RSI reading like we had back in 2021, the end of the bull, I mean, at least the mid bull cycle, as well as 2017 bull cycle monthly RSI readings. Just take a look there. Just take a look. Don't take my word for it. Look at the monthly RSI reading, which is an indicator that I have been using for the past 5+ years. And it's been very accurate, right? At least in predicting peaks, right? And we're nowhere near that peak like we had back in 2021, 2017. So that tells me we still have quite a bit of room to go, even though we're experiencing some turbulence right now. All right, uh, so this is why I think this could still be a very probable bottom here. Let's take a look into the next piece here. It's by News BTC. Bitcoin set to hit 189K as global liquidity tops 127 trillion. Analyst says. So this is even more interesting. I still do think 189K is within it's very much in the cards. And why is that important? It's because if Bitcoin has more room to go, so will the altcoins. Of course, just a reminder. If you guys want to take a look into more of this news, you guys can, but I'm just gonna read the headline and give you guys my reaction here. This is from TradingView. If you guys don't have TradingView, use my affiliate link in the description section below. I will earn a commission, and that supports my channel. Now let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. News BTC. Bitcoin enters Wyckoff distribution. Time for altcoins to shine. We are seeing altcoins picking back up more so than Bitcoin right now. We have Bitcoin dominance down, okay, over 0.4%. Ethereum up over 2%. Total 3 up over 2%, all leading Bitcoin ahead of this bounce here. So Wyckoff distribution, I actually haven't really seen that since 2021, since about July 2021, right? When that was a very boring consolidation period. If you guys have been around for that long, but every YouTuber was talking about the Wyckoff distribution. I don't remember exactly in detail, but it's basically bullish consolidation. That is just what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right. Cointelegraph. Bitcoin hodlers bleed as Binance daily inflows near 7K Bitcoin. So this sounds kind of sarcastic because it's bleed in quotes, and it's kind of contrasting Binance daily inflows. It sounds like a good thing. So if you guys want to read more about it, go ahead and open TradingView. But for time's sake, I'm just gonna give you my short reaction here. All right, next is gonna be by B in crypto. Will Bitcoin fall to 100K? Arthur Hayes thinks so. Now it's very good to hear contrasting opinions, right? Because I have to be open-minded. I am a trader, okay? I have to see opportunities from both sides. And I want to hear both sides of the opinions, because there's always going to be both sides of the opinion. If you guys don't believe me, just take a look into the chart here and see how many green and red candles there are on any time frame, right? So that just tells you there's going to be a contrast in opinions in the markets, regardless if someone talks about it or not. But this time it's Arthur Hayes. Of course, he's a bigger figure. He thinks it's gonna fall to 100K. I think that's a long shot. I'm not saying it's completely impossible, but I think it's a long shot. At least from what I'm seeing here, and I'll show you guys why. Because we have quite a bit of support between where this price action right now is and 100K. 100K is basically where the weekly 21 SMA is at right now, the blue line. Okay, and we have the weekly candle close coming in about 7 hours, so that's going to come up further. So that's going to be above 100K, and I do expect that to be pretty strong support, right? Because we basically broke above it, and we haven't touched down below it yet. So the first time you hit it, um, it's going to be pretty strong support, I would expect. Let's go over to the monthly time frame here. Of course, there is still some mixed signals, like a bearish divergence on the monthly time frame, but there has been exceptions. Will this time be the exception again, right? Or will it pull back and and pull back like it usually indicates? I still have my money bet on longs, right, on more bullish price action. So that is, I think this could be an exception, because this was a breakout, and I'm still betting on that this is going to be a big breakout here. Like we have seen back in December 2020, when bearish divergence got invalidated in 2017, October 2017. All right. I also want to point out on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, okay, where it looks like there was a breakdown below this falling wedge pattern that I've talked about. But in my opinion, I don't think this was a solid enough breakdown. You guys tell me, okay, just based on these daily candle closes, there are those solid enough? This is going to be a subjective opinion, right? I don't think so. And if Bitcoin actually ends up back into this pattern, especially with the daily candle close, that is going to invalidate this breakdown for sure. And well, not for sure, nothing's 100%, but it's gonna look a lot more probable that this breakdown gets invalidated and this falling wedge pattern is still valid. And if it breaks out from here, then the price target will still be about 125K for Bitcoin. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the stock market is also important, especially in the shorter time frame where we're looking less certain. We see a very similar chart here on this weekly time frame, a breakout out of a cup and handle pattern, at least a very something very similar to a cup and handle here. And stock market weekly time frame very much looking like a Bitcoin chart here with that huge that weekly candle drop there, right? So something to be keeping an eye out on too, because it has high correlation with Bitcoin. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I'm just going to point that out to you guys, unless I see something more significant. Let's take a look into meme coins now. Okay, this could be a good time to be trading altcoins, because this could be a potential bounce for Bitcoin that could take it higher, right? Of course, also have to consider the downside risk if it doesn't. Let's take a look into Mog Coin and see what's going on in this market since the last time we've talked about it. I've talked about a falling wedge pattern on Mog Coin. This is the weekly time frame, and price target for this breakout here, which happened back in April, would still give Mog Coin about a bunch of zeros. I think 5 zeros and 245. Okay, and we're currently at 5 zeros and 1 2 almost. It is at some weekly. It is at some support levels here, which is basically you guys can see here. Based on these weekly candles, previous resistance is now support. Let's see if it holds, or will it come back down to this weekly 21 SMA here, which would be the next key support, right? The blue line here, if those support levels don't hold. But you're at a support zone here, as you guys can see. It was previous resistance. Of course, it is trying to hold above the weekly 50 SMA at about 5 zeros and 135 about. Um, so let's see if that is going to be support, flipping, resistance, depending on how this ends. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame. Okay, smaller time frame, daily time frame. It looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart because it looks like the bears are actually trying to break down from this falling wedge pattern. However, that is still not a solid enough close for me on the daily time frame. If this actually ends up back into the pattern, this falling wedge pattern is still valid. Okay, it's probably more valid on a lower time frame because I would usually like to see 3 candles touching on a trend line to validate that trend line. Now, if this uh if this bigger falling wedge pattern is still valid, then I'm looking at a price target if it breaks out by this point to be about 5 zeros and just above 20. 5 zeros and 20. Okay. It is within the smaller falling wedge pattern here. Okay, just want to point that out. So if it breaks out of the smaller falling wedge pattern here, that tells me it's more probable it's gonna end up back into the bigger one. So something to be looking out for as well. And just want to mention that price targets are estimates only. It could be more or less. Very much depends on what the market is. I still think we're in a bullish market. But if Bitcoin starts dumping, then these altcoin setups are going to be they're going to be pretty much worthless. Okay, it's still going to be very much on Bitcoin chart first, and then altcoins. Let's go ahead and go to BOME, BOME, see what's going on in this market here. Weekly time frame. I think that was last time where we left off, right? Still valid falling wedge pattern. Very common pattern. You guys should definitely start charting. because it tells you after an extensive downtrend, price action is likelier to break to the upside. And right here, BOME is in the midsection of this pattern, trying to hold above the weekly 21 SMA. Currently about 1.75 cents here, right? The blue line. Now the price target, if BOME actually, bulk of meme here actually is able to break out of this falling wedge pattern, a price target would be about 1.63 cents. So just right above 1.6 cents there, price targets. Right now is at 0.175 cents. 0.177 cents, excuse me. Okay. The decimals really trip me up. Now let's take a look into a smaller time frame and get more clarity on what could be happening. 4-hour time frame. Okay, falling wedge again. Okay, quite a bit of divergence, bullish divergence on this 4-hour time frame. Let's see if that's enough to push this price action out of this falling wedge pattern, which would give BOME about a price target of about 0.25 cents, just right above 0.25 cents. All right, that's basically what I'm seeing for Book of Meme here. If you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. And if there's enough of you guys who want to see it, I'll bring you guys an update. Let's go over to the last one here, which is NEIROETH. Neiro on ETH, which should be distinguished from the Neiro coin itself. Now, weekly time frame here is looking like, there is a rounded bottom, and rounded bottoms could form into a cup and handle. But Neiro ETH does need to come back up here to about 30 cents for this to look like a complete cup and handle. So it's not fully developed yet. And if this rounded bottom trajectory continues, then that's what it could look like. It had a double bottom here, which usually breaks to the upside, right? If you guys can see, first bottom was February this year. Second bottom was April this year. Neiro ETH completely destroyed its price target. I can already tell just by approximating here. And then what could be happening with Neiro ETH right now in the short term is I pointed out a falling wedge pattern that's probably more validated on a lower time frame, but you guys can actually look yourself. A falling wedge pattern. Neiro ETH broke out of it about July 19th. Price target is still valid. This is gonna give Neiro ETH about a 21 cents price target. Why is this still valid? Is because the price action is still above this upward trend line, and this price target has not been met. Since breaking out of this falling wedge pattern, it has formed a smaller one here, which would give a smaller price target here of about just right underneath 17 cents. So let's see if Neiro ETH is able to actually make it to 17 cents first, and then continue to that bigger price target of about 21 cents. So this basically wraps it up for today's video on these three coins. Like I said, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe if you want to continue seeing more of these coins. Let me know if you guys want to see any other coins in this market, and I'll see you on the next one.